Yo guys, and welcome to my review of episode 13 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush, the Arc 1 finale. Now, I know I'm a bit late, however, I have been pretty busy this week, and I'm going to be even more busy starting next week, so yeah, I do apologize about that. Also, I do want to give you guys a huge shout out for the dub changes video, which has now become my most viewed video, not counting obviously the openings, but yeah, thank you guys so much. It was so much fun to do, and I'm definitely going to be doing more of those. But let's get into the review. You know, I think a lot of people were skeptical going into this final episode, since, we kind of all knew it was very predictable as far as the result goes. But I do think that this was the best way to do this Udius win result. And I mean, I think overall the episode was just really good. I actually think that this way of giving Zuijo a loss is really cool, because now we kind of have two threats with him and this new threat that was revealed at the end of the episode. I know technically we don't know if Zuijo is going to be a threat again, since Yuhi said that he's not such a bad guy, but as Udius said, he's definitely hiding something. Whether that's a good or a bad thing, we're going to have to wait and see. One thing I really like doing is kind of reverse engineering duels, kind of what TGS anime does, to see if someone could win at a certain point. Which, you can't really do for 7th and Go Rush, just because of the fact that most of the time tools do last one episode, and it's only 4 turns, so it's pretty simple to see who was going to win. But that's an exception for 2-part duels. So I wanted to go back to Zuijo's last turn to see, apart from just attacking, if there was anything else he can do. Because some of you may have noticed, but right before he attacked, he set a card. So I went back to see what the card was, and he actually set a spell which lets him discard a card and change the opponent's monsters to the same attribute as the card discarded. Which you may think, oh, that's really cool, because then he can discard the light to get his effects. But everything in his deck is already dark, and he doesn't benefit from that, so that's kind of an odd card for him to have. Maybe they just couldn't think of a different one, so they just put that in as a reference to 7 since it has Dark Sorcerer, but kind of interesting. So Yuhi was really good in this episode. Last episode he was kind of made into a joke with, those fart jokes. But here he was actually really good. That moment where he basically confronts Zuijo, almost seemingly kicking him out of Requiem, really well done. And it shows that Yuhi has a lot of potential still, and I'm excited to see where he goes. Udius was also great, finally seeing a little bit of his strategy, but again through Zuijo letting him win, seeing that he still has a lot more to learn. Now, who were those people exactly at the end? I'm guessing that they are probably some kind of MIK bosses, at least someone above Manabu, since, they question about him, they ask who's in charge of the Matsuba district, and they say it's Manabu, so it would make sense that there's someone from MIK, and showing them as seemingly the villains of the next arc says maybe Manabu will end up either leaving MIK at the end, or he might just become the head of MIK. I think those were pretty high possibilities, seeing as, these people are going to be the next villains. Another scene that was kind of briefly shown is apparently Yuhi and Yuamu can kind of talk to each other. That could just explain that as being like twin telepathy, but it could also be the confirmation of them both being aliens. Again, it's not confirmed, but it could be. Again, they could just simply say, oh, it's because they're twins and they can kind of communicate through each other, but I don't know. It also seemed at some point that Yuhi did the same thing to Udius, so yeah, I don't think it's that exactly, but I don't know, I'm not really sure. I did like Asaka a lot. Obviously we're going to have to see a lot more of her. One thing I liked a lot was the fact that the machine she came in was her maximum. I thought that was really cool reference, and you know, kind of a hint as to what might come in the future, who knows. But you know, she does seem, I think out of everyone we've had so far, she seems like the most, you know, being similar to her old counterpart. Very much so, just leading the charge, being ahead of the situation. Again, I'm very curious to find out more about her and Kawaii Tell. What's their connection exactly? She also seemingly knew already about the Earth Damar, which again kind of makes sense, and might end up saying that she was the one who hired Kawaii Tell. Again, we don't know, but it's very possible. I mean, there was just so much that happened in this episode, and you know, it's really exciting to see where this show leads. You know, going back to Seventh, Arc 2 was where that show, really kicked off. I mean, that was the maximum arc. It introduced a huge new mechanic that changed Rush Duels completely and the show completely. So, will we see something like that again? Who knows? But I'm really excited to see where this show is going to go from now on. And yeah, tell me your guys' thoughts in the comments. Did you like this arc? Did you hate it? I thought overall pretty solid arc. Again, a little bit predictable as far as the ending goes, but I mean, not so much that I would complain. But again, tell me your guys' thoughts, and I will hopefully see you guys next week.